Why do Americans jet off to foreign lands? Love and money. My friend, a study by Hire a Helper spilled the beans, revealing that a whopping 24% of American expats are basically globe-trotting for a shot at romance. According to Internations, 53% of those dreaming of a life overseas see the lower cost of living as their golden ticket. Retirement is also a hot reason, with 23% of expats surveyed just living their best chill life. The U.S. State Department says around 10 million Americans are waving goodbye to Uncle Sam on their passports, while the United Nations estimates it's a slightly more modest 3.2 million. So buckle up as we spill the tea on the top 7 countries with the most Americans living abroad. Number 7, South Korea. South Korea, a country that went from being the underdog in the economic game to a real superstar. Back in the 60s, they were scraping the bottom of the barrel, but now they're flexing their muscles as a manufacturing powerhouse, waving goodbye to poverty, malnutrition, and illiteracy like it's yesterday's news. Situated in a tight spot, surrounded by big shots like China, Japan, and Russia, South Korea plays a game of survival and potential greatness. Talk about living life on the edge. Now here's the scoop on the Americans in the mix. We've got more than 130,000 civilians and 28,000 troops doing their thing in South Korea. And guess what? The number of Korean Americans living there is on the rise. In 2020, there were about 43,000 of them soaking in the K-drama vibes. That's more than double the crew from back in 2005. But hey, life in South Korea ain't all rainbows and sunshine. Some folks pack their bags and head back to the good old US of A. Even the first-gen Korean Americans find themselves doing a double take in a country that's a world apart from their upbringing. And let's not forget the cost of living doing its best sky-high rocket impression, making it rain financial challenges. On the bright side, South Korea's political game is strong. They've got this cool rotation of power thing going on, and they're all about political diversity. Civil liberties, generally respected. But, of course, every rose has its thorns. There's still a bit of work to do on gender inequality and giving everyone a fair shot, no matter who they love. With their A-game in tech, education, and finance, Seoul's like the superhero of the story. They're not quite hitting the top-tier world economy club, but who knows? The best South Korea has to offer might just be waiting around the corner. Number 6, Israel. All right, so figuring out how many Americans have packed their bags and headed to Israel is like trying to count jelly beans in a jar. Everyone's got a different guess. Back in 2008, the stats said around 840 Americans made the leap across the pond to Israel. Fast forward to the 2008 election, and suddenly, both political parties were tossing around a number closer to 250,000. Talk about a jump in the head count. In 2024, the Washington Post claimed a whopping 600,000 Americans were chilling in Israel. That's a lot of folks soaking up the sun in the Middle East. On the flip side, the Association of Americans Resident Overseas had a more conservative take, throwing out a figure of 304,040. Now, who do you believe? Just to keep things interesting, remember that predicting the exact number of Americans in Israel is like predicting the weather. Not everyone agrees, and it's a bit unpredictable. Plus, Israel's population is doing its own little dance, with experts busting out their crystal balls and saying it might hit 10 million by 2025 or sooner. Number 5, Australia. Good day, mate. So, turns out Australia is like the 5th home away from home for Americans, with around 116,620 of them making the move down under. If you're thinking about joining the Aussie party as an expat, buckle up and get ready for some advanced planning, especially in the money department. Now, Australia isn't exactly the thrift store of countries. Living in places like Sydney or Melbourne can give your wallet a workout. So, unless you've got a kangaroo pouch full of cash, it's wise to budget like a pro and plan your expenses like you're plotting a heist. Being an expat in Australia is like riding a kangaroo. It's thrilling, but there are a few bumps along the way. The land of OZ is a melting pot of cultures, and they're pretty chill about welcoming folks from Europe and the US. It's like they've got to come on in, mate, sign at their borders. And here's the real deal. Australia isn't just a giant island with kangaroos and koalas. It's also a contender for the best place to live. Low population density, high standard of living, and an atmosphere that's fresher than a eucalyptus-scented breeze. What's not to love? So, if you're up for an adventure and ready to embrace the Aussie way of life, pack your bags, mate. Number 4, Germany. Germany has become quite the hotspot for Americans seeking a change of scenery, boasting an impressive 152,640 Yankee expats. Those crossing the pond often discover a more wallet-friendly lifestyle and a reported uptick in the quality of life. Why the German love affair? Well, their robust economy, top-notch education system, and economic stability are like magnets for American expats. However, let's not sugarcoat it. Adjusting to the German way of life may throw a few Lederhosen-clad challenges your way, including wrestling with the language, mastering cultural nuances, and navigating the infamous German bureaucracy. Here, because there's a tax twist. Expats need to dance the tax tango in both the US and Germany. But fear not, the perks are worth it. Germany showers expats with fantastic healthcare, seamless public transportation, and a smorgasbord of educational opportunities. All in all, if you're an American dreaming of schnitzel and efficiency, Germany might just be your expat paradise. Number 3, United Kingdom. So, you've got your sights set on the UK, huh? Well, you're not alone. About 170,770 Americans are already living their British dreams. Whether you're chasing work, itching to explore, or hitting the books, the UK's got something for everyone. Now, before you start planning your tea parties and practicing your British accent, let's talk paperwork. You'll need a visa, mate, work visa, family visa. They've got a few options. The UK government even has a snazzy test to help you figure out which one suits you best. It's like a quiz, but with more legal stuff. Setting up a bank account, piece of cake, they say? Just bring along 2 sets of documents to prove you're not a spy, or worse, an American trying to outsmart the system. Healthcare in the UK is a wild ride. Sure, it's free. Cheers to the NHS. But warning, it's a bit like finding a needle in a haystack to snag a same-day appointment. They're understaffed and underfunded, but hey, at least it won't cost you an arm and a leg. Now let's talk housing. In some places, like London, renting is the name of the game. The housing market is a bit like a roller coaster, up and down, and sometimes you'll wonder if you're upside down. But hey, that's the British way. Time to embrace the quirks and start living your Brit adventure? Number 2, Canada. Hey there. So, get this. You around 226 Americans decided to set up camp in Canada by 2016. That's right. Canada is like the cool second home for Americans abroad, giving Mexico a run for its money. Apparently, about 11 of Canadians have caught the travel bug, with around 4 million of them living their best lives outside the Great White North. Now, where do Canadians go to spread their maple syrup? Flavored wings. The top picks are the good old USA, Australia, and New Zealand. But surprise, surprise, Canada itself is like the VIP lounge for those on the hunt for a better quality of life. And hey, if you're worried about your expat kiddos getting a good education, no sweat. Canada's got it covered. A whopping 1/3 of students are from overseas. And don't be fooled by Canada's size. It's the second largest country on the planet, but expats don't feel like they're stuck in the middle of nowhere. Most folks are hanging out near the US border, keeping things cozy. So if you're thinking of crossing the border, Canada might just be your next happy place. Number 1, Mexico. Mexico is like the cool kid on the block for Americans looking to spice up their lives abroad. We're talking about a whopping 799,430 Americans who've decided to set up shop south of the border. Why? Well, for starters, Mexico is a vibrant explosion of culture, mouth-watering food, picturesque landscapes, and beaches that can make you forget your own name. And get this, it's practically the neighbor next door with a climate that feels like a warm hug from grandma. Sure, the locals are friendly and English is a thing, but hey, don't be surprised if you find yourself playing charades to conquer the language barrier. Now, safety first, right? Do a little Sherlock Holmes work to suss out the safest spots. Generally, the less crowded, the better. Because who needs unnecessary drama? Oh, and let's talk money. Living in Mexico won't burn a hole in your pocket. Like back home, word on the street is you can kick it in Mexico City for less than $1,000 a month. That's like what? A fraction of your rent in the States. And for all you tech-savvy folks, Mexico's got gigs in the tech industry waiting for you. It's not just about the tacos. There's serious business going on. In a nutshell, Mexico's got the whole package: sun, sand, culture, and a pocket-friendly lifestyle. No wonder it's the go-to spot for Americans seeking a little fiesta in their expat life. And with this, we have reached the end of this video. If you found it helpful, then make sure to like it and subscribe the channel for future upcoming videos.